solution-oriented sort of how my brain works. So if there's something going wrong, like a film that I was directing at one point, after I was filming, it was called Hope. It was for Turner. Um, I was having just the best time. I loved it. However, one night, done this incredible scene, and the scene that I had to do was all edited. We had to, do a lot of editing on it, and it was really a long scene, and it was done all day with kids fighting and all this stuff going on. And what happened was is someone came at dinner and said, "Oh my God, we've lost the entire day," because the film at that time, it was film, and that was exposed. When that was exposed, I asked everybody to leave my trailer so I could start thinking of a solution. Instead of getting flappable and angry and who did this and who did that, we just have to create solutions to our life. It isn't poor me. It's how I'm going to actually execute me. So that's what happened. And it actually turned out better having cut it and then brought it outside and shot it in one shot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Redoing it.
Redoing
Made
it.
it better.
Redoing it. So, we think things are terrible. And if we really take a look at them, they're not as bad as it seems.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Now, did you feel like you always had self-love maybe in earlier relationships that weren't working out or marriages that weren't working out? Did you keep that sense of self-love?
Interesting. I felt frustrated in some of those relationships. My first relationship that I had was, we were both dancers, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
And he's Greek, and I loved the Greeks. That was a big Greek period for me. And he's wonderful, and he's gifted, and he was a dancer, and so was I. The problem that happens in that is that you don't lose necessarily love, but the life is changing, because I couldn't walk into a room, it was laugh-in period, and I couldn't walk into a room without people looking at me. I'm saying that because it was, it was all like, boom, what happened to that person? It was like it blew up.
You blew up.
Yeah, I blew up. And that's not fun to have a partner who isn't blowing up. And I could say he was doing amazingly well and so forth, but it's a crazy thing. There's no balance there. And that wasn't pleasant for him.
Do you think it's possible for someone in a relationship when they're both not well known, where one can all of a sudden get a lot of notoriety or fame or success or an abundance of something, and the other one hasn't grown there? Can they still make it work, do you think?
It's very hard.
It's very hard.
Especially, well, I mean, there's, degrees of success, right? It's very hard in people who are, outward facing, that you see that are famous or whatever, because there's no secrecy anymore. You can't hold back. You can't wish now not to be so exposed. You can't anymore. So everything eats away a little bit at a time. If you don't have inner stability, then it can eat away at you. There's no doubt about it. We're not made of steel, and we're flesh and
there's no much of like reinforcing of that person of like, oh, everything's good, if they're not feeling good about themselves.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And it can undermine self-esteem, undermine sense of self. And that's just not good. I mean, everybody needs to find a purpose. Everybody needs to find their center. And sometimes you can get off balance, when you're with a partner that, is so celebrated. And with that comes money.
Mm-hmm.
And money is a very tough. Okay, so the whole idea of money has so much power. Just the idea of money creates power. So that, having a lot of money and gaining money sounds really good. And back in the day, I remember thinking, well, we'll just put everything in a pot. And I was so young. I mean, I was 23 or something.
And kind of share it together.
Just throw it in a pot. We'll do this, and it'll all be cool.
But when you're bringing 95% and they're bringing 5%.
No, and you buy a house and they don't own it, or they own part of it, but not enough. And it's I swear, it's what is it? Erodes.
Really?
Erodes some of your your relationship. Well, you can start out feeling very optimistic, but if you realize it, you always have to remember what it is you love about that person. What is it you couldn't live without with that person in order to nurture your choice? Because that's the most important thing. And then if that is going to eat you up and get under your skin, male or female, females, of course, it's easier because girls are not supposed to make all the money, and they're not supposed to be powerful, and they're not supposed to be the decision makers, and they're not supposed to be, and that goes from the cave days. Okay, this is very cavey. It's very cavey. But some boys can't, always help themselves, and we get that. So when a woman has all the money and a woman has all the ideas and has all the power and makes the decisions and so forth, there's a little part of the woman that feels like she'd love to have a man taking care of her.
Wow.
No matter how rich they are.
This is powerful. What advice do you have for women now who want to make their own money, who want to have their own successful career, who want to share their art in the world and be celebrated for it? What advice do you have for them about finding a male partner and what they should be looking for to have a healthy, successful relationship as well as career?
Yeah, well, that's very subjective because you have to find someone that's a friend, first of all, that can be a friend. And also someone, you have to know yourself to know that if you're falling sexy with somebody or you want to fool around, you want to have fun, that can happen with no money at the table, okay? It's really important to look at yourself, what your needs are, and show boundaries for yourself. Because if you don't have boundaries and know that this will never work, and know that it will never work, I don't want to feel guilty when I come home and I bring a paycheck that's more than his that way. Or you figure out when you're together as parents and the husband isn't doing quite as well and the wife is flourishing, they exchange jobs. And they're pretty good at it. It's really, really nice when you have that. It's rare, but it does happen. And then you have such value for each other in so many ways that, but it is very subjective. So remember when you get attracted to somebody and he happens to be, something wonderful, but not necessarily making anywhere near the money you are, you just take a look at it. Make sure that you don't jump into something before you realize you'll resent later.
Have you seen anyone in the industry, I guess Hollywood industry, where women who have made more money than the men they're with be successful in relationships as well, long term? Have you seen that?
Well, I'm not a, what is it? But in other words, I know some people in the industry, let's put it that way, but I'm not, somebody who knows everybody.
Right.
Okay. And we see people who get married again and they go back, and they get together. And I think it's very nice because the ones when you get married again, that's what Liz and Richard did, so when Richard Burton, they got married for a second time, So there's always something there, there's some electricity there that they can't live without. But I really haven't. The people that I do know actually do pretty well with that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty well with that.
Thank you for watching this video. If you want more inspiring clips like this, make sure to click right here to subscribe and click right here to watch that next video that is specific to support you in your life.